Hello again from the car. This is episode 38 of the HooperCast.
37 and a half, whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be 38. Sorry, we put in a lot of work on that last one.
Oh, this van's coming for you.
It's weird because you know what? Like whenever I drive past people, I'm always the one who's grimacing, going like, "Why are you going so slow?" And now I guess I understand. Like these people, but now I understand how really stupid it is for people to get so angry about being behind a slower vehicle. Like, oh god, I can't believe I had to pass you. And it's like, but you passed me. You're not. Oh, we're not going this way. But you passed me. Like,
bump that 450.
Yeah.
You can suck it 450.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
$10 to go to the beach and back. We didn't even get in the water.
Yeah, we didn't. People, it's literally been 30 minutes since we recorded 37. And
it's fun that we're road tripping. How often do you road trip?
It's been a week or 2 days.
Oh, that's not bad. You could keep it, and then people. It's like Lord of the Rings. You got to wait a year for the next one to come out.
Well, we've been cranking them out. Dustin and I recorded,
which is good. That's how it should be.
Well, I mean, that's only because we had a lot to talk about and I had time to do it.
Yeah,
that's really just.
I mean, maybe not every day. Every day is probably not
really,
good.
Well, one of them we recorded on New Year's Day, so I wasn't at work, so like it, there was time,
right?
And I had time to edit it, but it's tough. So it's.
Do you have a favorite podcast that you listen to? That's not yours, obviously, but like, do you have a favorite one? I have one, and it's the only one I listen to.
What is it?
Comic Book Man.
I've heard of them.
And it's good because it's Kevin Smith, who's not funny. He's not funny, but, he's talented. And I can give him that. But the reason I listen to it now is because I watched the show Comic Book Men. And I'm not even into comic books, but it's cool to see how much value you can put on a piece of paper that has some ink on it. You know what I mean? And it's cool the way they sit around. They're all, like, high-tech. They have, like, a soundboard, and the Asian guy runs the soundboard. And, like, Kevin Smith's like, oh, I'm Kevin Smith. That was, awful, but that's his thing, and he has like 4 other guys, and they talk, and it's neat, but it's like, I get sick of seeing him in a hockey jersey.
I don't like Kevin Smith. So if you do like him, then you are free to disagree with me. You didn't need me to tell you that to know that you were free to disagree with me, but I think Kevin Smith is a child.
Yeah, he's an old child, big old kid. We can skip Kevin Smith and just
No,
that...
No, it's fine. No. This is fine, because this is something I don't know if I've talked about at length, but Kevin Smith, long story short, there was a big thing where him and Adam Carolla were going to do a show together, and then, like, I can't remember all the details. You can YouTube this argument, between him, because Kevin Smith came on Adam's show to just discuss it with him, but he came on and... was pretty much like, why don't you just call me, dude? Like, and he was like, because if you follow like the etiquette of how things happened, then Kevin should have called Adam. Adam was the one who provided his phone number to Kevin.
Oh, really?
But Kevin felt disrespected that Adam wasn't contacting him. But to be so petty about this, like, do you want to work? And then all of a sudden, it's like Adam Carolla hears from Telepictures, like, we're dropping the deal. Kevin Smith doesn't want to work with you. He says you're an asshole. And he's like.
Oh, I remember that.
And he said, the last time I spoke to Kevin was, I'm excited, here's my number. And Kevin's like, why don't you just call me, dude? And it's like, because you didn't give me your number. I had no way of contacting you besides email. I said, here's my number, let's talk about it.
Does he think he's that big of a star?
He does.
Like, he made a couple movies about pot and, like, cussing and, like, that's Clerks in a nutshell.
Kevin Smith this. He has, I will forever credit him for having comic book knowledge and having geeky... The reality is, we need people like Kevin Smith in the world creatively involved in movies. That's a fact, and I will never dispute that part of his artistic merit, because he does have that. Right,
which I said he's talented, so
he's a competent filmmaker. Hell, dude, Red State was amazing.
I did like Red State.
Red State was great, and because of that, it was filled with none of his Clerks bullshit. Clerks did a lot for movies. I don't like the movie Clerks, but I will forever credit him for that movie, because him and Robert Rodriguez and other people were out there making movies for cheap in the early 90s,
right,
and really showing you what you can do with almost no money. And because of his talent for dialogue and relatable characters, that's why
that probably comes from his comic book background.
I just don't like that because, well, it comes from him being an everyman.
Well,
really. Him and Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez deserve infinite, respect for what they did as filmmakers. That being said, I don't like his humor. I think he's too vulgar. I think he falls back on, penis jokes too much and, like, boobs or pot or, like...
That's why I didn't like Clerks. I didn't understand it. I got it. Like, yeah, they work in a restaurant,
right.
but...
at least
I don't know.
That's the thing. So I don't, and everything with him, he got mad at people. I give him infinite respect as an artist, except really on the humor side. But that's subjective. That's just not my thing. It's not saying it's not for others. He's successful, and this is it.
Where are we?
We're about to. This is 59. This is where we want to go, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I have no fucking clue where we are.
No, I think I do. Now we're heading north.
I know where we are now. Yeah. Never mind.
I just thought we were on Beach Boulevard still.
I relate everything to food. So, and there's the Happy Shack, and I think it's called Happy Shack. Yeah, more like the Hippie Shack.
Wow, you're right. God.
Yeah. We lost our relocation sale. What do you mean you lost? You got stoned and what is that?
We can't find it, man.
Man, we had like that thing that.
It's like the 8th tattoo shop in this one block.
Dude, there's one by my house now. Tattoos.
All right, hold on. Let's stay on task.
Let's go get tattoos.
So I don't want one. But Kevin Smith, like, just as how he deals with like criticism. He can't take criticism. Like, when everyone said, dude, Cop Out, when critics hated Cop Out, he just came out and was like, man, fuck you guys. Like, you don't understand. Like, or, like, they don't know what they're talking about. Like, and it's just like, I understand the attachment to your film. Like, and I credit him for what. Him being outraged by critics is better than Steven Spielberg saying, yeah, Indy 4 was bad. Don't do that. Support your work. Don't just say that because everyone else hates your movie. Don't say that just so everyone will stop talking about it, yeah. Defend it. Shia LaBeouf saying, "Yeah, we sort of dropped the ball. Transformers 2. Michael and Steven kind of dropped the ball." First of all, you can just say, "I didn't feel like I did a good job in it." That's all you can say. But to really say,
yeah, I guess you can't
say
really...
the director who helmed this movie, because Michael Bay came out and said he shouldn't be talking like that. Michael Bay, you can say whatever you want about him, but I respect any artist who stands behind their work. Jon Favreau stands firm behind Cowboys and Aliens, which nobody liked. He says, but I felt like that was my most evolved work, and that was it was a good experience, and I just felt like creatively it was my most evolved work. You can say whatever you want about the finished product. That's your opinion as the consumer. But at least he doesn't say, yeah, you're right, it sucked. It's unprofessional. So I'm glad Kevin Smith believes in Cop Out and defends it, because he should do that. It's just the way he sort of did it in an immature way. He could have just said, well, that's their opinion, but I stand behind my work. That would have been the thing to say. But he just reacted like a child. And he came out on Twitter, and it was just so, and people on Twitter were telling him, like, stop being a baby. And he just kept being a baby about it. So I think he's kind of a big baby. Now, really, now that I think about it, the more I talk about this, the more I really feel like I'm on his side. So it's really not even a founded argument anymore. So if anyone's listening, or God, if he's listening, first of all, thank you for listening, and I hope you keep listening. I really just think only a couple things he's done are unprofessional, but I really defend his right to defend his work, because at the end of the day, he's the artist and he chooses what to do, and I support that, and I support what he's done as a filmmaker. I support his business model with Red State. He didn't market it. He distributed it himself, because people are, I'm not going to distribute this. And he was like, fine, I'll do it myself. And he did it himself. And it got out, and people loved it. That is his most evolved work, because it is so unlike his other films.
That was kind of a flip-flop. Kevin Smith sucks. I think Kevin Smith does... have you seen...
No, that's true. You're right.
Talking about how he's, like, defending his work. And everybody... I mean, if you're an artist, any kind of artist, you should always defend what you do. And, you should always believe in yourself or whatever. And that's really, like, after-school special.
Believe in your product. Believe in your art. That's why you should do it in the first place. So...
Have you watched the Jaws documentaries where they're like... There's a clip of Richard Dreyfuss, and he's like, yeah... This flake's gonna suck. Like, they straight up is just like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not telling you to not go see it. I'm just telling you don't expect greatness. And even Steven Spielberg was kind of sick, like, when he first screened it, and
well,
they were all worried.
It's interesting because with Jaws, like, Rick Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw, Quint and Hooper, hated each other. They could not stand each other. And that's okay, because that's pretty much their dynamic in the film. They're not supposed to like each other. There's really one scene where they get along, but they hated each other. The shark would not work. It kept breaking, and so that's part of the reason you don't see the shark for a lot. And that's why the movie's so good, is because they don't show you too much of the shark too early in the film. So that when you do see it eating a guy, it's terrifying.
Yeah, but if you go back and watch it now, it's not that scary.
That was not the original plan. The original plan was for you to see much more of the shark, and the reason it's not that, stories like that make movies like that better. Like, we limited your exposure to the shark because we had to.
On accident.
Like, we're glad it worked out the way it did, but that's not, it would not have been as good of a movie if the shark had worked. You know?
It was really interesting to watch.
One of the boats sank, and like some of the sound, like, you know, the film was going to get wet, and so, like, you know, so, you know, they held, the guy was standing on the sinking boat holding up all the film canisters so the rescue boat could get there and get it. You know, like, there's a lot of stories behind it.
It took forever to make
movies like that.
Like a year or some long time for a movie back then.
And that's why, I guess, back to Kevin Smith, but same with, like, George Lucas and everybody. Like, the reason Star Wars movies like that are so good is because of their limited budget, in a way.
Right.
They're forced to pull back, and they're forced to make, you know, what's going to make this movie good? Well, we can't fall back on visuals, so we have to fall back on good writing and good acting and good camera work. You know? Good camera work doesn't cost money. It just costs a talented, you know, cameraman. That's where movies need to keep going. That's why I love movies. You know, there's big budget movies like The Hobbit and everything, but people who started from nothing, like Peter Jackson, they know how to do a lot with a little. You know, even Robert Rodriguez, having a big budget, knows how to save money. You know, how to come in on time and under budget. You know,
which is how you make money.
Right. Tarantino doesn't need a lot of money for, like, CG. He knows that his story is strong. He knows that his script is strong enough, and he casts the right people.
Right.
And that's all you need.
What's your favorite Tarantino flick? He has a lot of good ones.
It's either Pulp Fiction or Jackie Brown.
I really like... Oh, I mean, Pulp Fiction's obviously a classic, but I really like Reservoir Dogs.
And there are people... I think John's favorite is Reservoir Dogs.
It's just funny. It's short. It's not that long.
I like it.
It's good.
I like it, but I like... I think
Jackie Brown's pretty good, though.
Jackie
That's
Brown
a good one.
Is very good.
I haven't seen the new one, Django Unchained, so I want to see that.
Django's good. That's not the best, but it's one of his better ones. I don't like half his movies. I don't like the Kill Bills. I don't like... Right,
I'm not a Kill Bill fan.
You know,
I really want to see DiCaprio, because I've always liked DiCaprio.
The thing is, actually, of all the movies I've seen of his that he directed, you know, I've seen Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Death Proof, Bastards, and Django Unchained. That's 8 movies. Of those 8,
that's right, he did do that.
I like Django, Bastards, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and Jackie Brown. So I like 5 of the 8 of his that he's directed. If I'm forgetting one, then I probably don't like that one either. But
yeah, I guess so. If you're forgetting,
so now that there's been Django, I mean, I still liked 4 out of the 7 he did. So I still like more than half.
I think that's positive.
So he's got an overall, like, you know, positive kill spread for me. That's good. I had not seen True Lies. He did not direct it, but Ridley Scott directed that, I think. But Quentin Tarantino wrote it, and that's considered a great movie too. I've not seen that, so I wouldn't count that towards his directing efforts. But I've never had a problem with his directing. I've had a problem with his scripts. Well, with the ones I don't like.
Right.
Kill Bill and Death Proof had its merits, but ultimately I was just like, I don't care about these people.
Right.
You know, Kill Bill seemed just like a bag of references.
I never really liked Kill Bill. I wasn't a fan. I mean, I can
watch it.
Cool stuff.
I can watch it all the way through and be entertained, but I don't really think it's a great film.
Yeah.
Because it's more just about him going like, look at how much I know about film history. Which there's a little bit of that in Bastards. They'll talk about films. They talk about old movies and all that stuff, but they don't lose focus of the story. So, anyway.
Well, what do you think? Sam tweeted earlier about most anticipated film of 2013. I'll be honest, I don't keep up with like what's coming out. I know a little bit, you know, like
that's probably will be our next podcast. We did that at the beginning. We did that last January where we
I remember that one.
The whole thing and said, here's
but is there anything huge coming out like
Iron Man 3?
Okay,
I'm excited for that. Iron Man 3 is coming out. Oh god, I forgot a bunch of other stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I don't keep up with it to really know.
I flat out forgot most of them.
You podcasted about the Avengers, and you enjoyed that film, and I liked it too, and I like all those films. I just felt like it was more like it felt like an Iron Man show. Not that it should have been called Iron Man 3.
I didn't feel like that, actually.
But Robert Downey Jr. had a big role in that movie, which, I mean, great. He's awesome.
I felt like they had equal time in that movie, and that was a concern of his and Joss Whedon's when they were creatively doing it, because they said we didn't want it to be the Tony Stark show.
Right.
And I feel like Iron Man has a big, important thing he does, but really everybody does. I mean, if anyone got shafted in the Avengers, it's probably Thor.
Yeah. Which, to be honest, that's my least favorite Avenger flick. Well, how they did the single ones before. Yeah. I didn't like the Avengers. I didn't like Thor.
I don't know.
But, I think it's because I really have never seen it all the way through. I didn't get to see it in theaters, so I didn't get to experience it.
I think Thor is good, and I think on a theme, and Thor's story is very Shakespearean.
Right.
And appropriately, it's directed by Kenneth Branagh. You know who he is, right?
No.
Okay, well, Kenneth Branagh is... with his work, a lot of Shakespeare stuff. Played like Hamlet, played like Macbeth, in film and stuff.
Right.
And you know him as Gilderoy Lockhart in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, really?
That's him, and he's also Arliss Lovelace in Wild Wild West.
Okay.
Mr. West. That's him.
Do you like those, you're talking about Shakespeare. Have you seen those, new, what do you want to call them? I think it's called, Contagion, or something. It's an old Shakespeare play that they did, and it's got the guy from 300, Gerard Butler, and it as the main character.
Coriolanus?
Yeah, that's it.
Contagion.
And it's I couldn't remember what it was called.
Coriolanus.
It's a strange film, man.
Well, it's very good though. But here's the.
If I understood what was going on,
I watched it recently, and that's one of the ones I'm talking about where I had to go on Wikipedia and understand what's going on, because Coriolanus was directed by Ralph Fiennes.
I've heard of him. I don't remember what he did.
Voldemort.
Oh, okay.
But Ralph Fiennes is a great actor. And so he directed it, and he stars as Caius Marcius, the main character. And then Gerard Butler is, I forgot. He's his enemy for a lot of the movie. And so Ralph Fiennes it's good when they can show you in films that Shakespeare stories can be applied to any time period, because what matters is the dynamic of
which is exactly what they were going for, yeah.
Right, and so that's what's good about updating. A lot of movies, people don't realize they're based on Shakespeare. I mean, The Lion King is Hamlet.
Right.
People,
yeah, absolutely.
The first time I found that out, it blew my mind. I was like, whoa.
Well, yeah.
And
a lot of films, it's not just Lion King. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there.
Right, but that's just one example of, when you think about...
Well, what do you think about the dialect?
And that's the choice he made, was, I'm going to keep the dialect the same.
Which is cool.
But
you can't understand it.
It makes it less accessible, but people like Ralph Fiennes don't make movies to be, completely mainstream or appeal to audiences. He's like, this is going to be... I'm going to show this... My whole thing is going to be, I'm going to show the strength of this dialogue and this story being applied to real life. And you can argue whether it's a bad choice or not to update the dialogue, but I will say at least it's more impressive for all the performers to be... I did get taken out of it a little bit, like Jessica Chastain. People having arguments in Shakespearean language while they're pulling up in a limousine, is sort of strange to me. But every moment Ralph Fiennes was on screen, just as this pissed off general who his very first lines where he's admitting he hates all the people, he hates everyone, and he has complete disdain for them. They end up casting him out, and he's just pissed off at everybody. And it's a great movie, and his performance is great, but it's very tough to follow because in Shakespeare, even understanding big words and old words, unless you understand Shakespeare dialogue through and through, you'll really not know what's going on.
Yeah, I really thought that movie was just too smart for me, if that's the right way to... Right. I did not understand a fucking word they were saying. And I was just like, what? And I watched it, I knew it was a Shakespeare film, and I was like, I love Shakespeare, when I understand it. And we put it in there, and I watched it with Irish John, and he's like, what? Are they speaking English? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I think that's Middle English. I can't even tell what they're speaking. And then when you realize that they're speaking Shakespearean, I'm like, oh, shit, I have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I knew the whole story. I looked it up on Wiki and, all kinds of stuff. So, but it's one of those really, I don't know, it was kind of cool. And that's what you were talking about, Gilderoy Lockhart being a what do you want to call it? Shakespearean thespian, I guess is the right way to say.
Yeah.
That'll teach you how to act. That'll teach you how to speak.
Well, it also teaches you especially with a story like Thor, because everyone's like, why is Kenneth Branagh doing a comic book movie? But when you think about the dynamic of, Thor and Loki and their relationship with their father and their kingdom, and just Asgard itself is not... You don't go, hey, what's up, dude, in Asgard.
Right.
The way they speak in the comic. And that's why everyone thought Thor couldn't be brought to the screen, because why is thou...
Right.
How dare thou do the,
It worked enough. I enjoyed the movie. I've never, like I said, I always turn it on at night. I'm like, I'm going to watch Thor tonight, because I have a lot of friends that really like it. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to watch it. And I get to the very end and I fall asleep. So it's and it's just one of those things that and it's not the movie. That's no fault of the movie that I'm falling asleep during it. I don't think there's ever been a movie that I've fallen asleep in. Because they've been so boring.
Some people just aren't. Thor is probably the least accessible, or Tony Stark is, a very modern character. Easier to bring to the screen, or easier to make accessible. The Hulk's pretty simple, lives in the modern world. Captain America, a little bit of a risk, but I'm glad that they did it the way they did.
I liked him.
Thor is tough because he does live in a different world, but there's more to play with. So it's weird to integrate him into modern life.
I dug Hawkeye. I wish he would have had his own. I don't know how much you could have given him as his own film, but
he probably got shafted a little bit too. I think
it would have been a cool movie to see.
I think Jeremy Renner actually stated that he felt like he was supposed to have a bigger part in that.
Oh, really?
Well, or in the original script, he had a bigger part or something. But I mean, if you think about it, for most of the movie, he's not even himself.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
Like at the very beginning of the movie, he gets like
it's been so long
he gets like zombified and turned into a bad guy for most of it. Mm-hmm. Hawkeye's pretty much a plot device for most of the movie, and then he gets. Dustin has a problem with this, and frankly, so do I. Like, Hawkeye gets like bonked on the head, and now I'm a good guy again.
How many times have you seen the Avengers? Like, sat down and watched it? I mean, obviously, besides the theaters, but
2 or 3. Maybe.
Yeah. See, I've only seen it once, and I feel like it's one of those movies that if I saw it twice, I'd be like, you know what? I enjoy this a lot more than I think I enjoyed it the first time.
Dustin, I know that Dustin, we don't like it less, but when you watch a movie like that's that long enough, you realize that like it's a good movie, but like and the character dynamics are good, but just a couple of the plot elements are like don't really make sense, and the movie doesn't really claim to have like an ironclad story. So the next one needs to have a better story because now that they're all together, you don't have to explain them coming together as much. And have them all united against pretty much a faceless villain, fighting a bunch of aliens that you don't meet until the final act, But I just think the action in the Avengers is amazing.
Mm-hmm. You just got an Xbox 360. That's something you've been looking forward to for a while for both its DVDs and its video games and all that kind of stuff. What are you playing on it right now?
Well, I never got it for like DVD playing capability. I was much more interested in being able to stream Netflix on it to my TV. To which Tara... okay, well, I'm saying this because it's true. I mean... Tara was wary about me getting one because frankly she sees she knows a lot of people with husbands who all they do is sit around and play Xbox instead of paying attention to their wives, and she was afraid that I would do that. So really for me that sort of motivated me to get to really just have my shit together, because I didn't want anything I didn't do to be blamed on the Xbox or the video games, and so I really do it when I don't have anything else to do or I'm waiting for laundry to dry.
Right.
So I try to keep it in perspective. And another reason she was opposed, or she saw I didn't see a benefit in it because she's like, we can already watch Netflix on the, through the Blu-ray player. So but I think it streams better on Xbox at least. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought I don't want to come home. I'm kind of sick of coming home and watching stuff. Sometimes I just want to come home and do something interactive.
Yeah.
Where I can control. Like sometimes I don't want to watch action heroes just run around and shoot things. I want to run around and shoot things.
Right.
So I got this bundle that had the Halo Combat Evolved 10th anniversary, so I have that.
With the updated graphics and stuff?
So
that's good.
So I've started the original campaign, but it's just weird because it's like, so they're explaining what a Spartan is. I'm like, I know what it is. Just let me run around and shoot things. And the guns are all weird.
It's a great franchise, man. I think I've owned every Halo game. Yep, I have. Halo, Combat Evolved. I owned the one for the computer for a while. Then Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4. And I have Halo Wars, which I actually played last night for the first time in a long time. And it's like what do you call those games? Like Command and Conquer, Overhead, real-time strategy?
Yeah, it's just a strategy game. Well, the bundle came with that, and it came with, like, Forza Motorsport 4, which I was probably just going to sell, but some people were like, it's good. And I know Tara likes racing games.
Yeah, you couldn't sell it for much anyway. Might as well keep it. It's fun,
it's
actually.
It's a new copy of a new game. I could probably get...
it's the newer Forza?
Most of the stuff that I want is, like, used or old.
Absolutely,
so I exchange. See, and for me, like, there was only 2 games I owned that are new. It's Halo 4...
Yeah, Batman,
and Black Ops 2.
Oh, you have Black Ops 2?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a good campaign too. I don't know if you've played through that.
Well, I haven't touched the campaign yet, but I played the multiplayer on Xbox, and I got Xbox Live because it's cheap. And
why aren't we friends? Why aren't we friends on Xbox Live?
We can be friends soon.
I'm not that high of a level. I'm only like 46.
I don't know. I don't know the rankings and stuff. I just play and...
You want to talk about Tara worried that you're not paying attention to her? I'm in this clan, if you will, of we're called the Old Timers Clan, and that's a shameless plug, but the oldtimersclan.com is what we're called.
Okay.
And it's a gaming group for guys that are 30 and older, and I got in because I just messaged them and was like, look, I'm tired of playing with 12-year-olds. Can I please join?
Adults,
and they were like, yeah, absolutely. And their thing is, don't rage, so don't throw a hissy fit if you lose.
Exactly.
And like, they don't mind cussing or because everybody gets a little heated, and you're like, oh, bastard, they don't care about that. But you don't say things, and they're very respectful to everybody.
You don't troll people.
Absolutely. And you don't quit.
Oh, wow,
even if you're losing, it's great. And it's like, you don't say things like, oh yeah, you're adopted. Because, these guys are fathers and husbands, and they're like, look, I adopted a kid.
They know how to respect people.
Yeah, you don't say things like that.
Child,
And so it's great. It's great to play with these guys.
Pause. What is Team Gunther on that?
It's Gunther Kia. It's the Kia store, so they're called Team Gunther Kia. That's what I've always heard them called as.
Well, that's another accidental plug.
Yeah, Mozart. Hit the high notes. Great music. Pass it on. What? But these guys are all in their 30s. Some of them are like in their 50s. And you said Tara's worried. And, these guys, because we get on a chat every day because they all go to work and they're all IT guys because they're all nerds.
Well, okay, I don't want to paint, let's be clear, I'm not going to paint my bride as somebody, I don't want to paint a picture of her like she's this evil shrew.
No video games.
Because what she did is she for a present, she gave me an Xbox controller as a gesture. And she said, I'm getting you this because I want to show that I support you doing what you want to do. I'm trying to show you that I'm not trying to keep you from doing things that interest you. So people need to know that about her too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, like, I don't blame her for having that kind of a worry, but she chose to trust me instead, and that's what good people do. And so,
but my thing is, these guys are always, all they ever say is, yeah, can't play tonight, wife's going to be home. And they all take time to take care of their kids. They take care of, they only play on like the weekends sometimes if their wife's out with their friends. Thing. You know what I mean? And I picture you as that kind of gamer.
People who play video games get lumped into a group with people who spend way too much.
Right.
It's like anything in moderation. There are people, there's nothing really wrong with drinking. Now, there's something wrong with drinking too much.
Yeah.
Or, drinking on the job, or, and
you can't do that.
There's if you spend way too much time on it. Now, if you're like in college and you're done with your work, whatever, you're done with your school, if that's what you want to do with your free time, and you do whatever you want in your free time.
Absolutely.
But, once you're in a committed relationship and, I'm about to get married, so like...
That is your free time, to work on your relationship and build a relationship.
My free time is making sure that I'm maintaining my relationship with my bride. So my attention is for her. If I have time to myself or leisure time, or if she's doing something, then I can shoot. Then I bought the Xbox really is just another option of something to do.
So you don't bore yourself watching.
In my keyword, spare time.
Which you probably don't have a lot of. You work full time.
I don't have a lot of it. But
your relationship full time.
I come home and I'm like, you know what? I feel like playing a video game. And then I have the choice. Do I want to play on Xbox Live or do I want to keep playing Arkham Asylum and advance, the story? Mm-hmm. The good thing about live is you play pretty much 10 or 15 minutes at a time. You can stop.
That's what I've noticed is the more I play on live, the less I want to play my Xbox. Not because I don't enjoy it, but it's like, all right, that was good for 15 minutes. I'm good.
Like, exactly. That's what I noticed too. Like a few rounds, and I'm just like, and I noticed it doesn't get to me being shot. And I thought a rule I made for myself with my Xbox was don't put this above other things. And don't get angry if you don't do well, because it's immature to a degree. I understand being competitive and being frustrated, but if you're going to let a virtual game affect your mood, then you're way too involved in it.
I obviously I play video games way more than you do, but at the same time I know when enough's enough. Yeah. But I play MMORPGs, like I don't play WoW, but it's very similar. I play Guild Wars and stuff. But I play and I find myself lately as I went through college, like my first 2 years of college, I was 18, 19, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when I was really big into gaming because all the guys on my floor gamed together and we all had a great time. And then when I became like 20, 21, it became like going out, let's go drink, let's hang out, and now it's more of I'll turn it on. Like yesterday I had it on for like 3 hours, didn't even look at the screen. I was like, I'll watch The Office. And I just left it on like because I had my monitors next to each other. I was like, I really don't want to play this right now. And it's like I get this weird... It's hard to explain. Like, I used to be so involved in it, and now I'm just like,
you'd rather do something that's a little more real.
Way more productive. Well, I mean, not watching The Office isn't productive, but I do other things. I write a lot of music. I do, things like that. If I could find a damn job, I'd be going to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, I don't mind putting the sticks down to go out and hang out with my friends. I have friends that won't put the sticks down. They're like, I'm going to stay in tonight. I'm sick. And it's like, no, you're playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But you don't call them out on it, but you know that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't know if their brains work. It's like after 2 months of owning this game, I'm going to get bored of it. So I play as much as I can within 2 months. It's almost like, to me, it's just as fun having not played for 2 weeks and picking it up. If anything, it's more fun because you remember, it's fun to play the game. It does not get less fun the less you play it. It just, you can't think of it like that. Like, it's, you know.
It's amazing what games are doing, though, to get you back in.
Because, well, let me give you my... I'll try to make this not a long story, but my whole history with gaming is, of course, we had, like, the Super Nintendo or whatever when we were kids, like the big pad with the, 8-bit motorcycle racing, where you have, like, a side view, like you're playing Mario, but on a motorcycle.
Excite bike.
And so, there was that, and then we got the 64, which just was amazing. And I still have it.
I play my 64...
regularly. We still play Mario Party regularly enough because
Mario Party 2, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that's the best one.
Yeah, because that's just a fun game. It looks awful on my television.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how old you are either. That's just what it is, man.
But we used to do that at the beach whenever it rained. We'd just come inside and be like, all right, well, let's play Mario Party. We had like a super small television in my bedroom at the beach, but we'd all go up there and just play, and then play against a computer character. We'd always make it Peach. We'd always put her on hards. We'd be like, Peach, why? And then after a long time, we had the 64 for a long time, and then at the time, there were other kids who had like the Dreamcast and stuff, and
that thing sucked.
Well, yeah, and I just felt like I can't get into this, and so I pretty much for a while it was just the 64, like things didn't evolve, and then PlayStation 2. Sony did. Oh, there's the PlayStation, but we didn't get one of those.
Oh, you didn't get one?
No, because they were we were just. I don't know if my parents were like, we're just not going to pay for one. None of us ever really expressed a longing for video games. We liked playing them, but they were simple and they weren't encompassing our lives and stuff. And my parents, this is the key again: be responsible for your life. Be responsible for your kids. Just parent them. That's like people saying like Grand Theft Auto is to blame for like shootings. It's not. Sane people can tell the difference between reality and fiction and video games and virtual reality, and good parents enforce rules on their children. Like, you can play for 30 minutes a day, but you need to get your homework done before you play at 30 minutes. My parents limited my exposure and my playing time to time limits, and that kept me from being an unmotivated slob. Now, some kids are super motivated, play a lot of video games. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you think video games are the problem, it's not. Parenting is the problem. People's,
anything in moderation. I mean, you've already said anything in moderation is an okay thing.
Right, exactly. So,
mine was always get good grades. You can do whatever you want. Keep track of it.
Don't. School, risk reward. Work reward. Set up a reward system. My reward for getting my homework done was you can play video games, but you can't play all day. Because that's still not healthy.
I get
do
it.
Something. Go outside. Go play with a friend. Go to a friend's house.
When I think that I'd love to see the statistics for people that, which I don't think you could even relate this, but people that are engrossed in video games, are they single childs? Like, you have two brothers. I'm an only child.
Right.
So my thing is, I could go play with kids in my neighborhood if I lived in a neighborhood that had kids, but I didn't. And who's going to drive their kid over 10 minutes or whatever. And so what am I going to do? I could play with my Legos, which I did all the time.
Yeah.
And then, you can play video games. And then they made a Lego video game. And then they made Minecraft.
Yeah. So, so we had N64, and then the PlayStation 2 came out, and we were older at that point. We were like, a couple of consoles have been created since this last console we've had, and it's been a long time. And I don't know if it was Peter's. I think it was Peter's idea. My brother Peter said, I think it was his idea to say, do you guys all want to go in on a PlayStation 2? We can split the cost.
Right.
And so Peter and Philip, even Philip still to this day is probably the best of all of us at saving his money. Maybe Peter, just from having a job. But Philip always knew, even as a young child, not to just spend his money. I spent all my money.
I always did too, man. I think I still do.
When they bought it, Peter and Philip paid for the PlayStation 2, and their whole thing was I could play for 15 minutes free a day, but I had to pay them at a certain rate to pay. I think
a bunch of bastards.
It's
fair. It's fair because they paid for it, but that's funny.
They paid for it, and right now they each had to pay half of it, and so I owed them I think I owed them each like $40 or something, and so I could, and the only games we had were NBA Street and SSX.
Oh, that was fun, SSX, man.
And so I'd play. You could play 2 or 3 games of NBA Street in 15 minutes if you wanted to, and so at that point it's just like, okay, I'm done.
That's what you got your life down to.
And if I wanted to play the PlayStation, pay up.
Yeah.
Even my brothers understood, like.
That's funny.
That's the way to do that. You haven't paid for this, so we're not gonna tell you can't play it at all, but you can't just sit here and never pay us. And that's fine, because that's how things should go. So, and we had that for a long. I mean, we still have that one still at the house too. And then at that same time, the GameCube came out. Nintendo, decided we needed a new console,
right?
And they made a lot of Game Boys and stuff. I think that's Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were doing that, but they're like, okay, we need a new console. So they created the GameCube. And I had a friend who got that, and he had a PlayStation 2, and then there were kids. And then, I don't know if around that same time was Xbox came out, the first Xbox from Microsoft, in like 2005 or something, 2004.
Right.
Around that same time. So we got that. So gaming was never a huge part of it. When I would go over to like a couple,
friends always have them and stuff like that.
But you're playing a game with a friend, and that's still an interactive thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we could go outside. And we still did. Me and my friend Sydney, we'd always go outside and make movies, but we didn't feel like it. So you just want to play, do you want to play, Grand Theft Auto? Do you want to play this? And I always played games at Sydney's house my parents wouldn't let me buy or own. So
right.
We always played Grand Theft Auto, and I'd go and, shoot,
That's how all my friends were. They all wanted to play my Grand Theft Auto.
Right, because our parents wouldn't let us, But even then, and so that's a whole other conversation, doing things you're not allowed to do at home. At a certain point, there's things you need to be exposed to, because telling kids they can't do something, at some point they're going to be curious, why am I not allowed to do this? And they're going to do it, and if you don't really teach them, if you don't really explain to them why, then they're just going to do it too much, possibly. I mean, there's a show on AMC called Breaking Amish. Where
I used to watch that.
They come to New York, and then they do all this stuff they're not allowed to do.
Disgusting TV.
And then, but the point is, I did that, and so, but I wouldn't even say there was a period in my life that I played the most. I probably played the most video games in college, because when I went to college, at that point the 360 had come out.
Right.
The Wii had come out, and the PlayStation 3 had come out. In 2007, all those 3 things came out. But I never owned them because I never had to, and so then I went to college, and my roommate John had he brought out a PlayStation 2 with him, and then I can't remember if he also an Xbox or he got one the next summer or something. But I never had to get an Xbox, and I never really played one too much. I thought the controller was weird and funky because I was used to the PS2s.
Right.
And so we would play, but then really sophomore years, and then just a few times at someone's house. I'd only played Halo a couple of times. But we played it so much, in our free time, because we had free time, and then that's where my friends and I really became like a group and hung out together.
Through video games,
and we always, well, not always through video games, but just we all knew each other, and that's how we bond. A way.
No, I mean there was other things, but that's a good way.
We hung out together and we played video games together, and that's really what kind of knit us together. Is one common interest got us to get to know each other and get to used to each other's humor.
And that's how it works. I have my buddy Forte always says, if you want to, if a girl really wants to see how a man's gonna treat her, I know it sounds kind of silly, but if you were to go on a first date or something with a girl, say when you first met Tara, the first thing you guys did was go bowling.
Yeah.
And say you were a bad sport about it. That tells her, I don't know if I'm really going to like this guy. If he's a bad sport about losing to me in bowling, what's he going to be when it comes time to pay bills? Or he doesn't get paid. And so that's another way with your friends. Say you were playing basketball, a pickup game, or you're playing Xbox. When you find that one friend that's bump this, I don't want to play anymore, I'm so sick of this, you guys suck, and you're like, oh man, it's just a video, you know what I mean? And it's a good judge of character in some. I mean, not saying just video games, but anything competitive, which for the most part, a lot of video games are competitive, but you can get a feel for a room or get a feel for people in the room, and realize I had a weird experience where this guy was just screaming things at everybody in the room.
Oh yeah.
And it was just what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just trying to have a good time.
Yeah. And so, but that was fun, and that's how we sort of got knit together, and that's just what we would do at night. I mean, half the time at night, before you're 20, we did things before we were 21 that people shouldn't do before they're 21, but I say things, one thing in particular, but like, I mean, most of it just amounted to just, we hung out, and we went and did things in Savannah, we went and did things in the city, you know, we weren't antisocial.
Right, absolutely.
We went out and everything, but we also just, I'm not the kind of person who has to go out and do a bunch of stuff to enjoy my time. I really just, for me, just not to have to be anywhere is enough to just enjoy. I could be sitting on like a bench, you know, whittling a piece of wood, but if I don't have to be at work that day, I'm really just enjoying myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't have to be anywhere. So it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. If I have nowhere I have to be, unless I'm just really bored, I'm content.
Right.
So, that was the best part of like, oh, I'm done with class for the day. I have some stuff I have to do later. I'm going to play some video games. And that taught you, as long as I time manage, this is okay right now. That's what you learn in college, is to time manage, if you haven't already learned it. What the fuck, guys?
Jesus Christ, lady. That was a lady.
Yeah. Well,
she was all up in your lane. Oh, like, man. Did she not see the trailer?
I'm talking about that insurance. Yeah.
God, dude, I would have been so pissed.
I would have been pissed and been like,
$8 insurance that we don't need, and then that bitch would have hit you. Oh, I called her up, but that was very,
no, she's a
misogynist,
bitch.
whatever,
well,
but...
Well, okay, she's incompetent.
We don't know if she's not a nice person.
She might have a great attitude and made a mistake, but she's an incompetent
like, who was
driver.
not paying attention to that?
I think she was trying to get out of the other people's lanes, but you have to understand, like,
there's other people in this lane.
You're about to hit somebody else.
God. Grand Theft Auto for real.
Anyway. Man, this car needs a better horn. My horn...
I'm a car!
I don't want to make, like, a big horn noise because it's going to annoy everybody, but my car's horn is loud and intrusive. It tells people, hey, this is not okay, what you're doing.
And you did a polite horn. That was nice of you.
Yeah,
that wasn't even like, get that all the way.
I didn't lay on it. I was just like...
You didn't have time to lay on it.
I looked in the rearview mirror, and because she was still inching closer, and I was like... I was watching to see if she hit the trailer, because she almost hit... She was not stopping... You know, and I knew, like, I'll pass her before she scratches the car, but I thought she might hit the trailer.
Yeah. That would have messed us up, probably more than the trailer, you know, but...
So, like, and I would have had to pay U-Haul a lot of money.
That was scary. I'll admit that was scary.
I wasn't scared. I've been more scared in other...
Well, I was just more thinking of, like, you know, throwing a Wii remote through a television, or, like, you know, breaking a trailer.
So we're going... So we played Xbox a lot, so I got used to Xbox's controls, and I realized, like, most of these games are better. Like, I have more fun playing these games than I do on the PlayStation 2 ones. Not because this is a newer console, but just because games in general have gotten better and more interactive and more intuitive, and so they're more in tune with how people want to interact with a virtual world. And graphics are a lot better than they were in 2000. So I could still go home and, like, during the summer, during the breaks, and play PlayStation 2 and be content.
Right.
You know. And then there was the Wii games, and those were fun enough, but most of them were like weird little kiddie Wii Resort and stuff, and those are fun, but like sometimes you just want to shoot aliens or you know, shoot terrorists. And so when I graduated, I was like, man, I'm not gonna have an Xbox anymore. And I bought a couple of games at that point. You know, just a couple of used or old, like, you know...
Right, so you could have your own...
like a $15 copy of Assassin's Creed, and then, like, Halo 3.
You remember playing that at my dorm?
Yeah, and that was so fun.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
I just remember thinking, like, wow, this is great.
And all we did was, like, all right, next time you die, I get to go. And that's all we did, and we just ran around killing people.
Yeah.
Sounds awful,
well,
but...
there was no tact. You know, I just ran around, and then I waited for the guards to antagonize. Like, I would go up and, like, push the guards, and then when they start to fight me, all I do is counterattack. And that's what was fun to me. So... playing that was great, but then I graduated and I was like, well, now what do I have? I have a PlayStation 2 that's really only a third mine, and so I took this 64 and I thought about it, and I was like, do I want to get an Xbox? You know, do I want to wait and see if there's going to be a console? But then I was just listening. I went like a year without it, and I just waited on Microsoft. Like, you know, if they announce a new one, I'll just get the new one.
Which they have, but it won't be out for a while, and it's going to be expensive as balls.
Right, and so I was just, at that point, I thought, well, let me just get a 360, and I was picking. I asked Tara, like, I think I want to get a console, you know, and I know that Tara, there was part of her, like, she came over one time with some PlayStation 2 games from home, and she, and we played it, and so we know that we like playing certain things together.
Right.
But, you know, so I asked for input, like, well, I'll get whatever console. If you don't agree to a certain console, I won't get it, you know. But I don't want this to just be oh crap, in the wrong lane. I don't want this to just be a decision that I make. I want you to be okay with it. So that's the first step, everybody. If you have a spouse, you know, include her in the decision making. So I asked her, do you want to get a Wii because that might be more interactive and it might be more fun for us?
Right.
I said, but we don't need a PlayStation. We pretty much ruled out PlayStation 3 right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Because we said,
you have a Blu-ray player.
We had the Blu-ray player, so that capability is already not an advantage because we have that. We have, and most of the games on PlayStation 3 are also on Xbox, except for like Uncharted.
Yeah, there's only a couple games.
It's really fun, and I wish I could play it, but but Xbox and every console can stream like Netflix and stuff because we did it on the Wii in college and stuff. So that all had the same advantages. It just came down to the Xbox probably has the best games. So, so I said I'm gonna get a 360, and because I thought Halo's fun, Call of Duty's fun. Those, but Halo's exclusive to Xbox. Mm-hmm. Call of Duty is not. Batman's not. So I just picked Xbox. It had a slight edge over the PlayStation 2, which I wasn't going to get because I already had a Blu-ray player.
Right.
So really, the Wii could have been a good option, but the Wii has none of the games I wanted. You can't play Call of Duty on the Wii.
You can't play just about anything on a Wii.
Yeah.
I once sold my Xbox 360, got a Wii, and then sold my Wii and got an Xbox 360. I once did that because I thought it was awesome, and then I played it for like a week, and I was like, this sucks.
I don't like. And the Wii's fun, but just the Wii's more for families.
It really is, and I was in college, but I will say, if you want, have you played PlayStation Move?
No, what's that?
It's the Wii equivalent for PlayStation, but it's PlayStation graphics, and it's like if the Wii would just make an HD console, they'd be in the money.
Yeah.
But dude, I played this game, and it was me and my buddies. We were playing on New Year's just for like 10 minutes. He was like, "You want to see it?" I was like, "Yeah, I kind of want to see what it's like."
If they let you use the Wavebird controller more, because I can't stand using those Wiimotes, nunchucks as controllers.
Yeah, and this thing has a big ball on it, so you look silly. It looks like a magic wand.
Yeah.
But this archery game, you pull back and you shoot, but the graphics are just beautiful. And it's just one of those like. I was blown away with how good. And then you play like ping pong, and you can play bocce ball.
Wow.
and they had what else? Volleyball, which I didn't get a chance to play. And what else? I think that was it. Bowling, which every interactive game has bowling. But it was cool. And I was like, well, if the PlayStation has this, there's no point getting a Wii. Not that I would buy a PlayStation, but there are some things on the PlayStation I would like to have. But I can't shell out $300 for a PlayStation. I just can't. I don't see the benefit. Especially with the new Xbox coming out in June, I'm just like, whatever. And I'm not going to get it in June. Obviously, I'm going to wait till like December or something. But
and I knew that if I got an Xbox, that there were plenty of... The biggest factor for me, really, was knowing, like, one, I know my mind, and I know that I don't need every new game. So I know I'm not going to... I know that the biggest price I'll pay on the Xbox is buying the console.
Right.
And after that, I said most of the games I want to play are old by now, and they're reduced price.
Right.
And so I thought like I said, I only bought 2 new ones just so I could have something that everyone else was playing, because I wanted to get Xbox Live, and that was cheap. And so I wanted to have Halo 4 in case I didn't have friends who had it, and I wanted to have Black Ops 2 in case I had friends who had it. And so everything else I bought, I have a bunch of stuff in my wish list on Amazon, but I thought I'm just really going to buy one game at a time, really. I bought like a few so I could have a choice. But those are plenty to play for now. Like there's still the campaign on Halo 4. There's still the one on Black Ops 2. I'm playing Arkham Asylum right now. Before I play Arkham City, but they're still cheaper than they were when they were new. And I have Grand Theft Auto 4 in case I just want to blow off steam.
Right.
But I've hardly ever played that. I played that online with Kellen, because you can be in the same server and shoot rocket launchers at each other.
Oh yeah.
Where you can go to that swing set that glitches and launches you. I mostly just play like Call of Duty and Batman.
Yeah.
And that's fine for me. And realizing like I can get a lot of mileage out of one game. And so I knew that the rate at which I'm going to purchase games is going to be ultimately insignificant in my finances.
Right.
So, and I thought, and it also makes me buy less movies to entertain me. And it just makes me, it makes me really just focus on what I have. You get way more mileage out of what you pay for a game than what you pay for a movie.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah.
I still like movies, whatever. But if I'm watching like a show or a movie at this point, I'm trying to do it through Netflix because one, I've probably never seen it before, and two, I'm already paying for Netflix as a service.
Right.
So I bought the Xbox knowing I need to pay this a certain amount to justify this purchase, but I need to not make it control my life or my wallet. And that's all Tara asked of me, and that's what I promised, and that's what I agreed to. Because it's not a hard promise to make because it's reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely reasonable. Yeah, it's completely reasonable. What I will say, I was thinking the other day, and I talked to these guys on this forum, my clan, quite a bit, and they all have wives, not all of them, but for the most part they have, fiancé wives, girlfriends, and they're all trying to see what video games they can, because, they want them to be a part of it, and, a 30-year-old woman probably isn't going to be into video games, unless it's the right thing, like a Wii, they can see how cute it is, or whatever, but, they've said, so far they've said their wives are, like, addicted to Skyrim, because there's a way you can play Skyrim where you can play like a housewife. It's really silly, and it's not...
It sounds a little chauvinistic.
It's not... You can play it, and so if the ladies don't want to go around slaying dragons, they can build a house.
Right.
But once you build a house and adopt children and get married, that's about it. But
you beat the game.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't... There's no beating it. There's, But that's one of those games you can pack hundreds of hours into, just over time, over years, and, But they have that. The ladies seem to like that. They seem to like... what is it else they like? There's a couple that'll play Halo, but it's hard to get a girl into a shooter using 2 sticks.
I've achieved that. Tara, I tried to get Tara to play Call of Duty with me because one day, I think part of it, I don't know if it was her genuine interest or her just trying to extend to me like a gesture. And so she said, well, let's play something. I said, okay, well let's try Call of Duty. And that's not for her head because Tara. Some people have a hard. Call of Duty's tough because enemies don't stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
They don't in Halo either, but they're way harder to see. You die way faster in Call of Duty.
You played the bots? I'm assuming you played the bots, right?
I didn't know how in Call of Duty.
You just threw her online?
No. I just played her against me, and I said, okay, like...
Oh, that's fair.
No, I didn't go... I didn't go anywhere, and obviously, like, I can tell... I don't know the maps very well, but she doesn't know them at all.
Yeah.
And she doesn't understand the concept, and so she likes to play inverted. I found that out about her.
Weird.
Because that's just what she's used to with like anything that's first person. And I said, okay, that's fine because that's not uncommon,
Yeah.
And so I just had to teach her like all the button controls and pretty much what to do if you're being shot at. Like you should probably crouch. You need to go in scope to shoot more accurately. But if they're this close and you have this gun, there's a lot of factors. But for her, it was just way too not complicated. But Call of Duty is a complex control system.
Right. And there are a lot of games that are a little, I think, too complex.
We played Halo, which is almost the same control system, pretty much the same ideology.
But she can see better.
But she just responded to it a lot better.
Yeah.
So we played the firefight in Halo.
Oh, that's fun. There you go. That's how you get her into it. Exactly.
Like we did a couple trial rounds, just like here's what I look like. I'm shooting at you. What are you gonna do? Just some real quick training. That I said maybe it'll be better. And for her, it's better to have more enemies to practice on.
Right. That's why I think she might like the bots.
So we played the firefight. So Tara now has a goal where she wants to beat me in Halo. So that's something that like. Now I found a way to interact with my bride, with this system, which is a benefit that I didn't foresee.
Right.
And so I'm glad that if she was not interested and she's just doing it for my benefit, then she's a great person for that because that's showing, her willing to come over on my terms and try and do something with me. And if she does enjoy it, then I'm glad because I'm glad we have that. So. Tara's not interested in Grand Theft Auto. She's not interested in, I said, she said one day she might try playing Batman. So we'll see if she likes that or not.
And you have Arkham Asylum? Not Arkham City?
Asylum, yeah.
Arkham City, I just didn't like Arkham City. I hear it's amazing, but I couldn't get into it just because I don't think I'm that big of a Batman. I still haven't seen The Dark Knight Rises.
That's the thing. I'm a big Batman
fan.
So
I still haven't seen it.
No one in the world is as big of a Batman fan as Dustin is, but I really enjoy playing the games. Is like playing one big long graphic novel.
Yeah, and I can see that.
It's the perfect marriage of like the art and picture quality of the graphic novels, but you have the voice from the Batman animated series. So you have Kevin Conroy as Batman. You have Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker is the Joker.
Oh, that's right.
And so no one does a better Joker than him. And so you have this great voice cast with these well-rendered characters and a great story. And so it's pretty much like reading a Batman graphic novel. All the villains are there.
Right.
The story's good. The Joker's usually behind the overarching story. But there's all the villains he has at his disposal.
Disposable.
And
I think you'd like Arkham City. I didn't like it.
I just don't want to play it.
Soren loved it.
Because I already know too much about how Arkham Asylum ends, but I don't know everything. So I want to play through the game, still having that surprise, and then play Arkham City. And plus, it just gives me time to enjoy the games I own. As long as it stays within moderation, then I can justify purchasing the Xbox. Because it's the thing, like, video games aren't really just for... since video games they used to be just for kids, because really only teens and kids were playing them when they started, but those people have grown up, but a lot of just the boom and popularity of them lately, it's just because that's a growing technology, that's a growing business, and those are really improving at a rapid rate. User-friendly consoles and games. It's always going to be interesting to people, and I think as long as people keep their priorities straight, then it shouldn't be an issue for anyone.
Right.
Now, if people are neglecting their children to play Xbox, then there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that goes back to parenting, and personal responsibility. Do what you have to do, and you do what you want to do in your free time.
It's just like doing your homework.
Yeah, it's just like doing your homework. Take care of the necessary things first. If you have time, do that. And that's what I do. I don't skip work to play Xbox.
No, I don't think I've ever. Well, I can't say I haven't skipped a class play because I'm pretty sure I did that at Auburn once or twice. I don't even remember.
I skipped classes in college, but I think
it was when Rock Band 3 came out. Not Rock Band 3. Guitar Hero 3 came out.
But I never thought, wow, I'd rather just I had such a good time playing Xbox. I don't want to stop. I'm not going to class, even though I have a test. I was like,
yeah, absolutely.
If I skipped class, nothing was going on that day already, and I already wasn't planning on going.
Right, absolutely. And it was. I'll be honest. When I transferred to South, I think I missed, I don't know, 2 classes, 3 classes in the 3 years I was at South because it was something I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to attend. When you're taking core classes like English and history, like how often do you really just want to sit there and listen to this bozo talk for an hour? And it's like, I could just read the book, bro. You don't have to. And I get it. Some people need that interaction, but I think I missed 1 class, and it was on accident. I didn't mean to miss it. It was like 4 o'clock on a Friday, every other Friday, and I just forgot about it. And we had a test that day. And I got a B in it, and I was so pissed because I had almost straight A's at South. I think I got like 2 B's, to one in music history and 1 in that stupid class.
I got good grades in college, so it's just.
And I played plenty of video games all throughout. Yeah, I mean.
So that's where I am with it. That's my whole journey. Gaming was never a huge part of my life, and that's why it was a shock to Tara at first because and part of it was just us being long distance. She just hadn't encountered me having much of an interest in it, so she didn't really understand where it was coming from. And I was just like, I like having interactive media. I'm not going to go nuts, though.
Right.
So, I don't... People were... When I got the Xbox, like, you should play Mass Effect, you should play Skyrim, you should play all this. And I'm like, those all cost so much money.
They do now. Yeah, they won't.
And I do not have an initial interest in them. I always wanted to play Call of Duty and Halo, even before I owned an Xbox.
Right.
So I'm playing the things I already had an interest in before I got my console. And that's kind of the structure I stick to. And that keeps costs down.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I want to play is like Left 4 Dead and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and see, so maybe
$15 now.
You might not even like if those. I mean, it seems to me like you like third-person and first-person shooters. So like Gears of War and those kind of games, Call of Duty, those kinds of games. And that's why Skyrim would be. It's not a shooter. It's very much an RPG. It's like, do you want to be a wizard? Do you want to be a
Yeah.
And you kind of have to be into it.
Yeah.
But Fallout 3 is the greatest game I think I've ever played in the world, besides any Zelda game ever. Because I'm never gonna say that Zelda's worse than anything, because I love Zelda. But Fallout 3 is one of those. It's like $8 for the game and all the expansions. It's like $7.97 at GameStop. And like whenever you get the time, pick that up, and you can play through that. And then forget about it for like 9 months and come back later and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is cool, you know what I mean? And it's first person or third person, and it's RPG, so it kind of gets you into that world so that you can branch out a little bit.
And games like Red Dead Redemption are in the middle because it's...
Oh, you like the open world games?
I like open worlds, well, to a degree. Now, a lot of Red Dead Redemption is just, you have to ride a horse to it. A lot is the in-between. I don't like games that take you... It's not that I'm impatient, but you're playing a video game to be entertained and to do stuff. And if you're playing a video game where I have to get from one town to another through a desert, should not feel like I'm actually walking through a desert. It shouldn't feel as boring as that is. It should be entertaining. I should encounter a pack of wolves that try to kill me. It should be exciting.
Visually, I think that's one of the best games.
It's sort of like when you're walking through the woods and that bear shows up. Like the first time it happened in Red Dead Redemption, I just got so much pleasure out of watching John play that, because he'd go into the woods. I hear that there's like a bear in these woods, and then like boom, a bear tackles him, and the screen gets all red.
Yeah,
and he just goes ah, and you have to shoot this bear, and he's like, I'm gonna try and knife it to death. And so
that's hard. You get an achievement for that.
And that's what he heard. He said, like, I think you get an achievement for that, because he says, I'm at the point where I can shoot it. I can survive an attack by this bear.
Right.
But I said, I'm going to try and knife it to death. And so he just would stand there with a knife, and it would charge him, and he'd, like, sidestep it, and, like...
Knife it, like, 15 times,
just stab the hell out of it. And then finally he did it, and he just... he got the achievement, and it was so much fun to watch.
I never got that achievement because I never tried it, I guess.
Because he fails like 4 times in a row before he does it, and it's always fun. And that's half the time. It's just fun watching others play.
And that's one of the few games that you can really watch people play. You know, it's got. But seriously, that's like the prettiest game I think I've seen in a long time. Just horses and the desert and blah blah blah. And my favorite thing to do in that game was get the lasso and go lasso criminals because you got more money for lassoing them instead of killing them. And that was my favorite thing, was dragging them behind a horse. And then there's one where you have to like save a train from being robbed or rob a train. I don't remember. No, I was a good guy, so save a train from being robbed. And that was cool, man. It was like, this is Wild West.
I was a bad man.
You had to wear the bandana on your face?
I shot dogs and stuff.
Oh, man. You're awful.
I did horrible things.
I always feel so bad when I do stuff like that in those games.
Well, and they even have, like, John Marsden, like, give you, like, verbal clues that you're doing immoral things.
Yeah.
Like, I'd shoot the dog, and then I would skin it. And then while I'm skinning it, he's going, God help me, or something, or what have I done? And I'll go like, no, John Marsden, you're doing this.
That's so mean.
Like,
the only game I can be bad at is Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, and you can listen to what I just said and say, that's awful. But you know what? Am I out in the world actually killing dogs and skinning them? No, because I'm mentally stable.
And it's kind of funny. You get a kick out of it because you're like, oh my God, that little kid's like, look at my dog, and you shoot it in the face. And it's like, where in the real world would I ever do that? Like, ever.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't care about this kid because he's not real, and neither is this dog, and neither is this bullet. I'm looking at a screen. You know, like I'm not committing any real atrocities. So like, you know,
the best game I've played like that so far that's been that entertaining. Grand Theft Auto 4 is an amazing game. It's all the Grand Theft Auto franchise has really made an impact on the world of gaming. But the best one I've played so far is Saints Row the Third, which I don't know if you've seen any of it, but it's the most fucking absurd game I've ever seen in my life. It's like, you want a helicopter? Boom! Biggest helicopter in the world. Like, you want a jet that can hover? You got it. And that is the best thing in the game. And you can use like a UAV. You know what a UAV is in Call of Duty. Yeah. And you can call in like Hellstorm missiles. Like, this is just average Joe walking around with Hellstorm missiles. And then there's like a remote control car. But it's a remote. And you shoot a car. Like, if that car in front of us was driving, we would shoot it, I mean, you control it, and the guy in the car is going, what's happening? And then you crash it into something else, and it blows up, and the cops come after him. Oh, it's just, it's absolutely absurd. There's a pimp in the game that only talks in auto-tune. And that's it. That's all he does.
I'll close out by saying I think video games appeal to men so much because there's not just, because it's a video game and you're guys and that's what you like. There's this, what's inherent in the heart of a man is having a quest, like a goal, something to fight for, and something to test his worth, something to like, do I have what it takes? And we used to have plenty of tests of that back when there was like clans that would like hunt. I mean, that's why a lot of fathers and sons hunt together,
right?
Because that's a father, you know, imparting wisdom on his son. It's a chance for his son to show his skill and show his worth and prove himself to his father. Because that's really what all men seek to a degree. You can disagree if you like, but I think most of us would agree that, you know, you want to prove that you have what it takes, you know? But we're in an age now where we don't, you know, I mean, there are battles, they're like soldiers, and that's maybe why they are inspired to go to war, is because they want to defend their country, and they want to know they have what it takes, you know, or they already do know they have what it takes, and they're confident in their abilities. But it's not like it used to be where we don't have to hunt for our food anymore, you know? We haven't had to for a long time. So that's not so much part of our initiation anymore. There's not really that much initiation for man. That's really on a parent-to-parent basis. So maybe having a virtual quest, you know, something to fight for, or just, I like fighting games because I like knowing, like, every time I get a kill in Call of Duty or something, I'm like, and I'm still alive, I think, okay, I have skill. Now, is that really a marketable skill that's going to help me in the long run? Not really, but that's why I don't take it that seriously, because it's just a leisure activity, and I give it as much weight as it deserves as something I do in my free time, which is, if I'm not doing that well, I don't care. It's not that big a deal. Like, unless I'm a professional Call of Duty player, it's not a marketable skill that I need to work on.
That's really funny, though. I just picture somebody going into an interview and be like, yeah, I'm really good at Call of Duty. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You're a surgeon. What do you...
Yeah.
Why do you need that skill?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'm good with my hands.
Yeah, so, like, maybe that's why it appeals to men, is because they do get a sense of satisfaction in completing a quest where they're like, yes, you know, they feel adequate.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm always happy.
It makes you feel adequate, and just the trade-off is find other things in your life that make you feel adequate to actually measure your worth by, because no one is going to care in a life or death situation.
That was kind of scary.
Yeah, they're acting like... the listeners are going to think that there's a train, like, about to hit us. It's just parallel the interstate, and they're... I don't know if there's someone on the, like a damsel in distress tied up on the tracks.
I was going to say her.
Because if she did, she got cut in half. Because video games are okay, but in moderation is really where they belong, and people don't need to measure their worth. The only thing that video games have really helped me, like instilled in me, is like I'm detail oriented, so I know like when I'm looking for something to check every room.
Right.
Because in video games they hide things in rooms you don't expect to find them in. Especially in Arkham Asylum, they encourage you to just check every pathway and find clues and use your mind. Arkham Asylum's good because they teach you to like notice things and be observant. It doesn't. Good video games teach you something as well.
Yeah.
You know, strategy games are good because they teach you how to prioritize. Video games teach you how to prioritize in a way too, whether in the balance between playing them in real life or balancing goals within the game.
Right.
So, you know, that's just where it needs to stay. You know, I mean, what measures my worth as a person is how well I perform at my job, or the kind of husband I want to be. That's how I measure my worth as a man. You know, or whenever I go on like a difficult run or do anything difficult, that's how I measure my worth. I don't measure it by a game. You know. Anyway, well, I think that'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do, Pig.
For this, but stay tuned for episode 39 now, I guess. We'll reconvene another time. Thanks, Ian.
Later.